A lot of buzz around Lane Kiffin and the Ole Miss Rebels as we get closer and closer to the 2024 football season. The Rebels coming off an 11-win season last year where they beat Penn State convincingly in the Peach Bowl, and now they have a ton of momentum as they held true to Lane Kiffin's moniker as the Portal King and went out and grabbed so many dynamic players on defense, none more noteworthy than Walter Nolan. Going to be talking a lot about that Pete Golding defense this year here on SEC Unfiltered, the best SEC entity on the internet. We're going to be talking about not only that, we're going to be talking about that high-powered offense as well. But today we continue our underrated series where we highlight who we feel is the most underrated player for the Ole Miss Rebels in terms of national attention, maybe not inside of the fan base, because the Ole Miss fans truly understand the player that I'm going to be talking about, why he is such a difference maker and why he is so good. But we're going to have some film to show you. But before we get into who the player is, we're going to go with some of the options. You know, we could have went in many different directions here. But when you have so much talk about that defense and you have so much talk about those players that were brought in, whether it's Walter Nolan, whether it's Chris Paul, whether it's Trey Amos, at all the various levels of the defense, Ole Miss got better. Then you had guys come back that I strongly considered putting in as the most underrated player, like JJ Pegues, like Jared Ivey, who have been there, and maybe because of the excitement of the new guys, maybe people just not talking as much about them nationally. Trey Harris, I think, is going to win the Biletnikoff Award. I've already said that. I think he's going to win the Biletnikoff Award and be the best receiver in the entire country, and he's getting plenty of preseason hype. Caden Priestcorn is a guy that I think is on everybody's Mackey Award watch list. Of course, we know what Jackson Dart can do. I thought about maybe saying Ulysses Bentley's being overlooked with Quinshot Judkins leaving and going to Ohio State. However, the player that I kept coming back to, and I polled some Ole Miss fan bases on social media and things of that nature, and Jordan Watkins is the name that I kept coming back to. He's a guy that he transferred in from Louisville after his first 2 seasons, but now he's spent 2 years in Oxford, and he's just been productive, more and more productive. He's a guy, he returns punts for the Rebels. He had 400-something receiving yards a couple years ago, over 700 yards this past season. And as I went and studied tape and watched tape, I just saw Jordan Watkins do more and more things that show how much Lane Kiffin trusts him, how much there's a good rapport there of him understanding what Lane Kiffin wants to do, how to accomplish it. So not only is Jordan Watkins a dynamic playmaker, a guy who I feel is an underrated playmaker, it seems like he's got easy athleticism at times. It's almost sneaks up on you in different ways, but also he's a cerebral assassin, guys. He understands coverages. He understands what defenses are trying to do to Ole Miss, and then he's able to use that against them when they don't execute. And Ole Miss is able to really, really have an explosive offense because of things like that. Now, we know that with Quinshot Judkins going to Ohio State, yes, we know that Ole Miss brought in Logan Diggs to try to give us still a 1-2 punch there with Ulysses Bentley, but when you look at all these weapons, and with Juice Wells coming in from South Carolina, so you got Trey Harris, Caden Priestcorn, Juice Wells, and Jordan Watkins here for Jackson Dart to throw the ball to. Not forget, Deion Smith comes in from the JUCO ranks after he had started his career at LSU. Then you have Marquise Willis, who's also a community college guy that's coming in. So they've got plenty of weapons. Aiden Williams, who we haven't even mentioned yet. So they've got plenty of weapons to throw the football to. I think you're going to see a little bit more of an aerial attack with Jackson Dart being so experienced, and just because they can, they'll throw it around a little bit more. At the heart of it, Lane Kiffin wants to run the football and be explosive in that run game for sure. But I just think Jordan Watkins is a guy who's not getting enough love nationally, especially with all the excitement, like I said, on some of the new additions on the other side of the ball, and then Trey Harris and Caden Prescorn being on these preseason watch lists. So we're going to have some film here for you where we break down what Jordan Watkins brings to this Ole Miss team. So we hope that you will enjoy that. But first, guys, please take a look at our friends MyBookie. We have a promo code for you. If you use SECU, you can go to mybookie.ag, and any bets that you want to place, anything that you want to get involved with March Madness right around the corner, all that kind of stuff, you can use our promo code SECU and get a 50% deposit bonus on your initial deposit up to $1,000, guys. If you're still on the hunt for yourself a sports book to call home, then bet on the nonstop action that March Madness will bring with MyBookie. Enter bracket contests and win up to $25,000 on certain contests. They also have straight up bets, prop bets, odd boost, everything that you could be looking for. Sign up now, mybookie.ag, and take advantage of the generous welcome offer. As we said, 50% deposit bonus on up to $1,000 by using the promo code SECU. What's the best part about MyBookie? You can bet on anything, anytime, anywhere. They have a mobile-friendly website. Use promo code SECU to secure your limited time welcome bonus today. MyBookie.ag. All right, guys. So without further ado, let's get into this film session here on Jordan Watkins and what makes him so good and so dangerous for Ole Miss. And in my opinion, the most underrated player for Ole Miss. And remember, I don't even put any of the punt returns in here. The guy is dangerous in the kicking game as well for Ole Miss. So just added on top of this film room. Enjoy this, and we'll be right back after to wrap it up for you. One thing that makes Jordan Watkins a really good player is that he's smart. He's been around a long time, so he's seen a lot of different coverages. He knows a lot of different things. Right here, we're going to see a concept against Mercer, and let's go ahead and highlight where Jordan's going to be right here. So we're going to see a concept between these two guys where it's going to be a scissors concept, and you're going to have some type of cover six over here where it's quarters coverage right here, and you're going to have kind of cover two or maybe cover four. It's either some type of quarters or a combo of cover two and cover four for cover six. Hard to really tell unless you know Mercer's calls in this situation. But what you're going to see is definitely it starts off too high. It ends up being some type of combo coverage, and you're going to see right here. Let's change a different color for Ole Miss here. Let's do the baby blue. You're going to see this receiver right here push at the leverage of the corner, step on his toes, and break to the post. And then we'll have right here the intelligence of Jordan Watkins to know, okay, my man right here is taking this corner outside, and he's using his stem to leverage him outside. So he's going to take him out of the picture as he bails. I'm going to go inside with my leverage and then break this out into the void. But it's going to be a combo between a scissors and a sail concept right here. So it's going to be an easy read for Jackson Dart. Let's watch him go through this right here. You see that first receiver stepping on the toes of that corner. Boom, there's the open window. Jordan Watkins catches. Nice gain. Guys, this is why Lane Kiffin is so good. Okay, do you remember this formation against Mercer where we just talked about, okay, they had a quarters coverage here where they're going to have guy come up. He's going to end up playing over top, whether it could be they're matching routes. It could be pattern match, cover four. It could be cover two. They're going to have a deep safety here and then a guy right here. So it could be combo coverage. It could be quarters. We don't know exactly what LSU is doing in terms of the call, because guess what? LSU didn't know what they were doing in terms of the call most of the time last year. They were absolutely abysmal on defense last year, but that doesn't change that what we saw from Ole Miss against Mercer was we saw this guy use outside leverage and break to a post, and we saw Jordan Watkins use inside leverage and break out. Okay, well, what Ole Miss is going to do this time is what makes Lane Kiffin so good is he'll use those kind of things that people have already seen against them, use their tape study, use their eyes against them. And now what he's going to do is he's going to have this guy stem out, but he's going to sit it down. And now he's going to stem in and then break across his face. And it's going to be a big play right down the middle for a touchdown for Jordan Watkins. So let's watch this right here. Beautiful job of how they run the routes. And that's what makes Jordan Watkins so good in this system for Lane Kiffin is he understands what Lane is trying to accomplish. He understands what Lane is setting people up with, not only within games, but from game to game. So here we go. On the outside receiver, you're going to see Jordan Watkins stem inside. He breaks it into that void, and then that's just using speed to be able to make a huge play for Ole Miss. All right, once again, we're going to see Jordan Watkins use the leverage of a defender against him, understand coverage, know what's going on. And in fact, we're going to end up seeing that same concept that we've already seen in the Mercer game and then a variation off of it in the LSU game. We're going to see a little bit of eye candy here to get this stack where Jordan Watkins will end up being inside of this receiver, and we'll see outside leverage post. We'll see him, Jordan Watkins, come up the field, use the leverage of this guy against him, and break it out. And know two things. He's getting to the sticks, and he's making a tough catch, a contested catch, getting his feet down. So great job by Jordan Watkins here. Let's watch it as we see another way for Lane Kiffin to get to the same concept. Really the third different way we've seen the same concept utilize, a different formation, now a little bit of eye candy. So let's watch this from Ole Miss. We're going to see some run action in the backfield, but you see Watkins uses that guy's leverage against him and makes a tough catch. Let's bring it back one more time and watch it. Here we go. Eye candy in here. You can see him. They switched. He's got inside leverage, a little bit of a push, catches, great catch. So Jordan Watkins does a little bit of everything. He can do it in the intermediate game. He can be explosive deep. He understands those coverages. He understands how to get himself open, and he just catches the football, guys. He's a guy who's been productive. He's a guy who's a leader for Ole Miss, and him returning his fifth year in college football, his third year there in Oxford, is huge for this team. I think from a leadership standpoint, they've got lots of guys like that. I think Watkins on the offensive side, who really has been a part of that culture that Lane Kiffin's building there. And then you got Pegues and Ivy on the defensive side. I think you got lots of a great mix of old and new, and it's clear to see why with the 12-team playoff coming into focus this year, why Ole Miss is a college football playoff caliber team. They're a team that has the ability, I believe, to play with anyone in the country this year, and it's going to be exciting to watch Lane Kiffin's squad get after it. So, guys, we appreciate you tuning in to SEC Unfiltered, the best SEC entity on the internet. I'm Blaine Gilmer. You can follow me using @BGilmer18 on X. You can follow us here on the channel also by hitting that subscribe button. It's absolutely free on any social media platforms using @SEC Unfiltered. Also, the website has lots of SEC coverage, whether it's football, basketball, baseball, SECunfiltered.com. So check us out, guys. We greatly appreciate it. And we will be covering more Ole Miss football, more SEC football, and everything college football right here on the best SEC entity on the internet, SEC Unfiltered. God bless you, and we'll catch you guys next time.